Well, that's a long introduction.
Yeah, I could have gone longer. Yeah, just
my
Alan, just
loans
spotlight
were
Ron if you would.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ron Conley, or if you will, Conley the Magician. And what I'm going to do right now is to try to prove to you that the impossible is possible by taking the possible out of impossible. I don't know, you think that's possible? Well, let's see. Now, in regards to the impossible line, that comes from Gene Gordon. Gene Gordon, of course, was the man who started the International Brotherhood of Magicians, one of actually three guys that started the club. And I worked for Gene in Buffalo, New York, 320 Franklin Street at the House of Hocus Pocus. And one of the advantages that I picked up there was that I was able to go with Gene to his shows. And so I saw or heard a lot of his opening lines, and that was one of them. And I always remember that, and I do that every time. And a little bit later on, I want to tell you a little more about Gene Gordon. But right now, I'm sure some of you, probably all of you, have noticed I'm the same age as old people. But you know, as I have found out as an old person that young people don't have the same common knowledge that we do. For example, they may not know what a toothpick is, or a pack of matches, or a thimble. They know what lids are, but they don't know what thimbles are. So I'm thinking lids are the new thimbles. Now, as a rule, thimble tricks happen fast. So I think it's okay to go ahead and do your thimble tricks, you know, more than one time. Now, the problem with the thimble trick I'm doing now is that the thimble reappears before it vanishes. that doesn't make sense to me. I think what should happen is that first the thimble vanishes, then it reappears. First the thimble vanishes, then it reappears. Now, the thimble trick I'm going to show you next, oh, wow. Fortunately, I have a backup spare extra replacement right here. Thimble trick I'm going to show you next is not really a thimble trick, but it's kind of interesting. See what you think. Here's my favorite, though. This is the one I like. I call that the shrinking thimble. Or I suppose it could be the growing thimble. Now, in magic, when something disappears, that simply means it goes somewhere else. For example, there it is. See what you think of this. I'll do it again. You know, if I had one more of these little thimbles, so I could make three of these, I could do cups and balls. But after what I just seen, I wouldn't try. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what you might call the new thimbles.
Awesome.
Now, as you can see, I'm new at this. I think they hired me so that make the other guys look good. Anyway, at every show that I do a commercial. I'm living in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and that's one of the top golfing destinations in our country. So I figured that I should be doing something all the time about golf. And this is it. Now I'm going to stand up here, but being Halloween, if I don't have a head, I don't think that matters too much. Okay, this was my first idea for the commercial. Have a little wooden vase and a golf ball. And what happens is you cover the ball, press the button, and the ball falls through a little hole in the bottom of the vase. Or you can do this. You can put the ball into your pocket, snap your fingers, and he comes back to the vase. Now, if the ball's in the vase, it couldn't be, you know, in your pocket. Then again, if you look in the vase and you don't find the ball, first place you check is your pocket.
It might be the resource officer.
What I like to do is put the ball in my pocket first. I don't tell them there's a ball. I just show them the little vase. All of a sudden, the ball appears. Then you dump it in a different pocket. And the last time, instead of the ball coming back to the vase, it vanishes from this pocket, goes to the other pocket. and then everything can be examined. But you know, as soon as I did that, I realized I didn't need the vase. I could do all that without the vase. It's called sleight of hand. Now, when magicians do sleight of hand, they have music. So if anybody would like to sing, it's okay. I take a chance saying that. Last show, a lady stood up and sang Malagueña. I didn't even know there were words to Malagueña. Huh? Keep one eye on my right hand, one eye on my left hand, and the other eye on the little ball, which means you have 3 eyes. But works out good for us magicians. And so that was the second idea that I had. However, as it turns out, I had an even better idea. Yeah. Now, when I was in high school, there was no 3-point shot in basketball. There was no designated hitter in baseball. And if 2 football teams tied, that was it. The one with the most yardage won. Now, there must have been changes to golf too. And I don't know what those changes were. So I made up my own. Imagine this, as you tee off, you use a regular golf ball, but when you get to the green, you have to change to a smaller ball. Let me show you the difference here. Yeah. Now, if you miss your first putt, that's okay, but if you miss the second one, you have to switch to an even smaller ball. A lot of difference there. Yeah. Now, if you miss your last putt, you have to change to that ball. Let me show you the difference there. Boy, that's a lot of difference. Then if, oh, wait a minute. That's never happened before again. Oh, what the heck, every time I do this, I have a ball. End of commercial. Okay, chair back. Now, I was telling you about Gene Gordon, and after I worked for Gene Gordon, I ended up working at Callan's House of Magic in Portland, Oregon. And then I also had the magic shop at the Houdini Hall of Fame in Niagara Falls, Canada. And at that time, Doug Henning was one of my regular customers. And then later I went with Ripley, believe it or not, museums. And we had 5 different magic shops. And our Gatlinburg shop was where Lance Burton and his sister came every summer. And so I've been behind the counter a lot. In fact, I've had 14 shops here in Myrtle Beach at one time, locations, I should say. And one of them lasted 35 years. And so I always wanted to invent a trick deck, you know, that any idiot could do. And I would do it all day long and make money and be rich. Now, this is it. It's called the Conn Deck. Originally, I was going to call it the Wonder Deck because I knew people would wonder how it worked. But since my name is Conley, I figured it would be the Conn Deck. Now, I'm going to tell you how it works, but don't say anything to anybody because I'm not rich yet. Okay. Now, the way the Conn Deck is made, you can actually shuffle it and it stays in the same arrangement just automatically. And you can cut it. And this is how it works. But remember, don't tell anybody. All the cards in the deck are black. There are no red cards, just black cards. Now, the reason people don't notice that the red cards are missing is because the backs of the cards are red. The box is red. They come out of a red box. And if you'll notice, the face cards have red in them, which flashes by too. So they never realize it's just black cards. Now, here's how you do the trick. You make a few piles, push one forward, cover the other 2, and then you ask them to touch a pile. Now, they never touch the ones that you have your hands on. I don't know why it is, but they never do. Of course, they think that this is the one you want them to touch. So they touch this one instead. But that's okay because you put a special card there. It's the only red card in the deck, see? And I know what you're thinking, you would maybe touch one, but you wouldn't touch one of them. In fact, it doesn't matter because as soon as you touch the top, it rings a bell. He hears it, pops up there and changes to a different red card. So you press the button, rings a bell, he hears it, pops up there, changes to a different red card. In fact, you can even show the elevator empty, press the button, he still jumps up there, still changes to a different red card. Now, as soon as you do this, somebody's going to think there's more than one different red card. Some people think the whole deck's nothing but red cards, but they're only half right because you see half of the cards are red cards. And the other half are the black cards you see when you're not looking at the red cards. But if you tell them how it works, it's not fun. And besides, if you take a black card, place it with the red cards, take a red card, place it with the black cards, and all the red cards become black cards, and all the black cards become red cards. Of course, you know, some people aren't going to believe anything you tell them anyway. They're going to think that all the cards are red no matter what you say. But if all the cards were red, people notice right off the black cards are missing. So what it really is every card's red and every card's black, which is hard to explain, so I will. See, if you take a black card, like say the 5, and you breathe on him, he's still a 5, but he's now a red 5. He's the 5 of hearts. In fact, that's how you end the trick. You breathe on the card, well, nobody's looking. Some of the red cards become black, black cards become red. Next thing you know, nothing, it's a regular deck. Red and black cards. Any tricks that you now do with your regular deck, you can now do with the Conn deck. And that's my trick deck, the Conn deck. You know, I'm going to tell you one of the ways that you can invent tricks here. Inventing tricks is not the easiest thing. In my opinion, the hot rod is the greatest trick invented in my lifetime for magic shops, for sales in magic shops. And I've sold grosses and grosses of them. So one of the ways you can invent tricks is you take a trick that's already invented, one that's a good seller, and you change the size, the shape, the color, the name, and you keep working at it, and eventually you'll come up with a different trick. In fact, I came up with 5 versions, but this is the one that sells. In fact, at one time, Robbins told me that next to the nickels to dimes, this was his best seller, called Razzle, Dazzle. So you have a magic wand that's made out of different colored beads, and it's like a hot rod. They pick a color from 1 to 6, like 3, and you count 1, 2, 3, and you give them the wand. Okay, the beads you dump in your hand, by the way. And they tap your hand, say silver, and all the beads change to silver. That is all except 1 bead. But you drop that into the lid, and sure enough, it changes too. Now, the neat part about this is that when you're finished, say the magic word Conley, all the beads come back. And you're ready for the next table. That's called Razzle Dazzle. Boy, did that go fast. I hope it looked good. You there, Matt?
It looked great, Ron. It looked great. It's so visual, so great.
You know what
Thank
I thought
you.
of when you were introducing me?
What?
I could see myself standing off the side of the stage with some delicate loads, and the MC goes on and on.
Yeah.
Until you're afraid you're going to drop your loads, you know.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're too good to do too. It's some things I just wanted to know about you. We appreciate you. That looked very, very visual.
I hope it showed up good because I had trouble with the lighting and the sound. I got a PA system set up, so I'm hoping you can hear me.
It sounded good. It looked great, and I haven't seen you do that sleight of hand billiard ball stuff in a very, very long time. Good comments. Tommy John says really good stuff. Renzi, great job as always. Tommy Johns is asking the question that I'm sure everybody wants to know, and that question is, where can I buy the Conn Deck? And I'm sure that goes along with where can we buy Razzle Dazzle. So do we put in the magicofconley.com and have them email you?
Yeah, you can do that.